Zombie takeout is imminent. Request advice. Hello and welcome to Zombie Takeout, the B movie and cult movie show. I'm John.
And I'm Scotto.
And before we get to this week's movie, we've got some feedback from Bodo. First off, in reference to last week's episode, With Great Power, the Stan Lee story. He said, great job on the doc, guys. By the way, what's your favorite Stan Lee cameo? I probably should have prepped you ahead of time for this.
I would have to say the first Spider-Man. Wasn't he like the wrestling?
Okay. Yeah.
if I'm remembering right.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go with Mallrats.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
Because he actually has like a line and he plays himself and he gives some. Was it Brody in that one?
Yeah,
he gives Brody some great advice. So yeah, I went back and rewatched that scene because I was trying to do something a little clever and get away from the Marvel movies, and yeah, I really did like that cameo.
I think there was something of the Big Bang Theory too, where
I gave up on that show years ago.
What's her name shows up at his house to just try to like make up for her missing one of them from meeting him.
Right. And he also said, "Damn it, guys, get this 3-shell rat burger, Taco Bell, a hot Sandra Bullock, and an unnecessary Dennis Leary off my queue." Before we do that, I have it down under news, but it's really just, I don't know what to call it, but you went to see a new Neil Breen movie last week.
Yes, Twisted Pair. First off, I arrive at the theater just about almost time for when they said the screening time was, to find a line around the block.
He says I remember him saying on Facebook, he needs like 100 to 200 seat theaters. He needs larger, sizable theaters to do these screenings because they always get sold out. I don't think either of us bought it when I told that to you.
I think he said in his Facebook page or Twitter account that there were 500 people there. I believe it. I don't know about sold out because there was like a seat next to me that was empty and a handful of other seats empty. But it was amazing. I mean, I seriously have not seen that much energy in a movie theater since Phantom Menace.
Wow.
In '99. And that was like pretty damn close to Mardi Gras, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just fucking, people just went bananas.
Star Wars movie in 16 years.
16 years, right. I mean, there weren't people in costume here. In fact, in this case, there were a lot of people just walking around stunned at how many people were there. Like, there was even the person sitting like in the row behind us, looking around just going, you guys know you're here for a Neil Breen movie, right?
I am actually very heartened to find out that there are that many people who are into Neil Breen. I mean, part of me kind of likes being the hipster now that Tommy Wiseau is a household name.
Right.
But I like that there are a sizable chunk of people who are in Neil Breen.
But I mean, honestly, Breen's work makes Wiseau look like Citizen Kane.
Yeah, exactly. I usually say he makes Wiseau look like Scorsese, but yeah, Citizen Kane works too.
I mean, Wiseau's stuff doesn't make sense all that much, but this is just taking it to a whole new world. I mean,
if I were gonna go, I would say Nigel Bach is Orson Welles.
I mean,
in this analogy,
let me just tell you, this movie is shot on a college campus, and like he's doing all of the same major, government conspiracy sort of things, and the Defense Department's I guess like cyber headquarters or whatever is a computer lab at this school. Do you know what he uses as an exterior for the computer lab at this school?
What?
The outside door of the computer lab at the school. Like, you can see the room numbers and shit. You can see that it's a computer lab that he's going into. The same with the biology room. Like, there's a periodic table on the wall, of course, because it's just a regular biology classroom.
Mhm.
A matter of fact, like, I don't know what he was doing. It was some sort of thing that he was looking at. It was just clearly the inventory of the biology classroom, like how many beakers they have, how many. It's just he doesn't know. You have to use it. You can use a different exterior for your interior.
Wow.
He literally is using the same room that he's walking into.
How does it compare, without spoilers, to
spoilers? What are you talking about?
How does it compare to Faithful?
Well, the fact that I saw this with I don't know how many hundreds of other people, and all of us just mistying this thing.
Everybody was in on the joke.
This was fucking phenomenal. This was just, I mean, you have to try to get to one of these screenings because it is one of the funniest movies you're ever going to see. I mean, I was getting some good lines off too. I mean, the evil twin has a girlfriend and they're like doing cocaine together, and I'm like, oh, it's like that scene from Lady and the Tramp. You know, they've got like the lines done. Yeah, that was probably one of my better ones.
So they're really perfect for midnight movies, as we've talked about. I think we said that.
Oh my god, yes. Yes, but this is the first time I've ever been to one where nobody has seen it before. So we're all just like in there for the first time, and we're just seeing this shit and reacting to it and getting lines off that are improvised rather than something that someone has said a million times already.
Right.
So
and was he there? Did he speak or anything?
No, he wasn't.
So no way to judge if he's in on the joke.
No, and I think by the fact that he was not there suggests that he is in on it. Because how would he be able to pull that off?
True. All right, so looking forward to that one. Hopefully it'll be available for rent soon.
Very much so. And yeah, if it happens in your area, try to get to it too.
And so on to this week's movie, which is from 1993, Demolition Man. Yes, we mean it this time.
Can we perhaps let's not review Demolition Man? This is a silly movie.
Nobody important died in the last week.
Wait, did George H.W. Bush do a movie? We should do a tribute to him.
Actually, the author of The Princess Bride died while we were on break.
Oh, right.
I was wondering, should we do that next week? Just
Princess Bride?
How the sausage is made, impromptu. I
mean,
too big for us.
It probably would have been the 800th time I've seen it. I mean, I may have seen Princess Bride more than I've seen Star Wars.
I've only seen it a handful of times, but is it?
I mean, it's been repeated on it's one of those movies I'll throw on for 24 hours and when you flip through it, you don't shut it off. Whereas Star Wars, it's I don't know if I have 2 hours to burn.
But do you think we should do it next week or not?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah.
We'll leave it to TV. We'll talk about it after the show.
You can edit this out, right?
Well, no, it's not getting edited.
Okay.
So again, onto this week's movie, Demolition Man, and of course onto the impromptu plot summary, sponsored by Taco Bell. Apparently, everyone in the future is intoxicated.
And also brought to you by Sting. Nothing says dystopian future like the music of Sting.
Do I have a rant about that later? But before we get to the summary, I just want to specify we are not actually sponsored by Taco Bell. They did not give us any money for this. Just want to make that clear. It was a joke.
They could at least give us that Chihuahua. Rest in peace.
Oh, you can have it.
All right, so we begin with the dystopian future that is 1996. In LA, and it's just of course they love this. The city's a war zone, and it's been taken over by one warlord, Simon Phoenix. And how do I remember his full name?
Because they said it all the time.
Fucking 80 times in this film.
Linnea Huxley, Sandra I'm forgetting the actress, Sandra Bullock's character. I should
Yes.
by no rights. I almost said Sandra Bernard, which would have made the movie a lot better. I should by no rights remember her character's name, but because it was said so often, and it's a Huxley reference, which I Aldous Huxley reference, which I did appreciate.
Right. And then you have John Spartan. John Spartan. John Spartan. John Spartan.
Spartacus?
Raymond Cocteau.
That was the other clever reference I have to admit.
Right. And Alfredo Garcia, of course.
Cocteau.
Oh, and Zach Lamb.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and then how can I also forget Edgar Friendly?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
these are
Right.
all like first and they just everybody's addressed by the fucking first and last name. But that is a different dystopian future. The dystopian future we first see is 1996. Well,
It was
I
a
guess
fair dystopian future. Wasn't really a dystopian future. It was just Compton being taken over by this one, criminal mastermind.
Yes, a warlord has taken over L.A. and John Spartan
They missed some Spartacus jokes.
has it out with him, of course, but things always get demolished or destroyed around the two of them fighting, as any two superheroes fight, and well, they pin the murder of 30 people on both of them, which of course makes zero sense.
No.
But how else can we say that? Why else would they freeze both of them?
Right.
Now this is a test pilot program, I guess you could say, that they're doing of
It
this
was
in
very
96.
futuristic for 99.
Yeah,
Especially when
96.
96, especially when the movie came out in 93.
Right. They were thinking 3 years from there we would have cryogenics just perfected. The future is very ambitious in this, actually, because
As I've said many times before, if you're writing future science fiction, don't put a specific year on it.
well, he also has that we're up to like what, the 60 something amendment
Yeah,
to the Constitution, which I mean,
in just 36 years from
yeah,
from 96, we're 14 years away from it now.
right. And how many amendments have we passed since 90 something?
Mhm.
Not a goddamn one. Can't even get an equal rights amendment passed, but never mind. So we what they freeze them. Why? I guess they're trying to rehabilitate them while they're frozen. They're sending them subliminal messages through the ice. They're
Teaching them to knit.
Yes, programming them to rehabilitate them. I'm not sure how you rehabilitate a cop.
Well,
but
he basically was an inch away from Judge Dredd, so there's room there.
That's true. That's true. In fact, he kind of dressed like Judge Dredd in the future, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the problem is when the next dystopian future comes along, and that's to handle the first dystopian future. Well, everybody, I guess they say, becomes pussy whipped, as to how Simon Phoenix characterizes it. Now, I guess it does leave you with the question of which dystopian future is the worst dystopian future.
Yeah, fair point. But it's such an oversimplification.
Well, right, of course.
36 years ago was 81, or 82 rather.
And they're clearly saying that first dystopian future was better than the second one, which is kind of crazy because if you live where the warlord had taken over, you would probably disagree. So, yes, spoiler alert, the plan does not go accordingly. The criminal, Simon Phoenix, is hacked, and for some reason, given all of these crazy fighting skills and hacking skills and knowledge,
given everything he needs to break out and accomplish a job for the person who had programmed him,
including a password to get out, right? And he commits the first killing in Oh man, of course that's supposed to be a joke where they say like 187. What is that even?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I
I
mean,
immediately thought of was it NWA?
oh, they all body count
Mhm.
NWA. Yeah, sure enough. But
But I knew who had programmed him when he was at that ATM sort of thing, or like a scene afterward.
well, right, it's pretty easy to figure out because who else would have the power to do this?
Mhm. And who
And
did we hear in his head?
that's true. So they don't really keep the suspense very long in this for some reason. Probably because they didn't think most of the viewers could figure it out if they did.
Yeah.
They were aiming very low in this. So yes, so they thaw out John Spartan to catch Simon Phoenix, and yes, they actually did say rise from the ashes, which
Mhm.
I was ready to chuck my computer monitor at a wall just for having heard that line. I mean, they gave it to and they gave it to oh, the actor that plays Zach Lamb. I should remember that.
I don't even remember the character. Who was Zach Lamb?
Oh,
Oh,
Grand Bush.
okay. I
Oh
don't
no,
remember.
no, wait, not Grand Bush. That was young
Was it
Zach
Benjamin
Lamb.
Bratt?
Sorry.
Was it about Benjamin Bratt?
No, no, that was Alfredo Garcia.
Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
thought
oh, okay. Yeah, Zach. The friend, the guy who we knew when he got out.
Bill Cobbs. Bill
Bill Cobbs. That's
Cobbs.
it. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I never picked up his name for some reason.
Oh, they mentioned that like a good six times at least in there
Let's see.
too. From what I saw, there was a subplot with him that was cut for some reason, which is probably it is one of the big
Yeah, big oversights in the movie because
yeah, because
they
he's
kind of
criminally
yeah,
underused.
yeah, and they kind of make him seem like he's important, and then he
Right.
disappears after about 10 minutes.
He disappears. You see him very briefly in the background in one scene, and then that's it. Like later in the movie, and yeah, he really should have been used more if they wanted
Yeah.
to make a good movie. But so the now the two of them, they are the Neanderthals in the 2030s. They of course destroy many things. Oh, I almost forgot. Um, Dennis Leary's in this for
Oh
some
yeah, he
reason.
plays the leader of what I'm going to call the Morlocks. They were these people living underground who didn't want to conform to society as it was.
But why would they even need Dennis Leary for that? It just didn't.
Because he was popular at the time. He practically quoted asshole towards the end of the movie.
Well, right, yeah. He. It was really weird that he was in it. Honestly,
Yeah.
um, like, but I don't even think they advertised him in it. If I'm remembering back to this, it was all just Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes.
It was stunt casting, same with Rollins and Johnny Mnemonic. A nice take, you know.
I understood why those guys were there, but I didn't understand why Dennis Leary was there. And when you say quoting asshole, I thought, oh wow, they're letting him do his Bill Hicks act again.
Yeah, okay. Need to look into Bill Hooks' work a bit. I'm not
Oh my
as
god.
familiar as
Well, I mean, at the time I wasn't familiar either, but once you like look at Bill Hicks's material, you're just like, oh my god, this guy just completely stole his material and then goes sell like Chevy trucks or something or Ford trucks with it, which I mean, one of the great Bill Hicks lines are, "Hey, is there anybody here tonight in advertising?" And they say, you hear one guy clap or go, "Yeah," and he's like, "Kill yourself."
And then one part you're overlooking with the movie. Apparently, at this point in the future, there was a fast food chain war, and
Oh
the
right.
winner, depending on the version you watch, if you watch the American version, the winner was Taco Bell. If you watch the European version, because Taco Bell is only really known in the U.S., the winner was Pizza Hut.
Oh wow. You
Yeah, so
sure
they
it wasn't?
changed it to the European version.
You sure it wasn't just a combined Pizza Hut and Taco Bell?
Oh God, that would be the worst food imaginable.
But they exist, you know.
They do?
Yes, they do.
Oh God.
In fact, there's like Google that song and it won't get out of your head.
Oh
I'm at the
God.
Pizza Hut. I'm at the Taco Bell. I'm at the combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
Well, I mean, if you're wasted, it's kind of utopia. But
And honestly, I've even seen one combined with the KFC too.
well, I mean, KFC is kind of okay.
It's like all the same company, really. So there are locations out there where it is all three.
Wow.
But anyway, they of course, you know how this ends already.
So
Although,
hilarity ensues.
right, the only crazy thing about it was they didn't leave room for a sequel.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you think about DNA and cloning and stuff, which I guess you could.
Yeah, they kill. Yeah, they kill Phoenix. So yeah, there's really no sequel.
You could always rise from the ashes again.
And somebody from the past could get thawed out, and you could send Judge Dredd or Spartan or whatever in it to get him. There's room.
They kind of just take out the whole facility, though. Remember?
Oh yeah, true. Who knows? But again, hilarity ensues. The movie actually opens up with a nice shot. It shows the Hollywood sign burning.
Oh, right.
Which is very dramatic.
Our first dystopian future.
The post-apocalyptic movie that this starts out as would have been a lot more interesting.
Well, how so? If they stayed in '96 longer?
Oh yeah, or just stayed there, made it about that, lose the future stuff. That would have been a good movie. The raid scene was really well done. I think the action stuff in general was really the highlight of the movie.
I mean, you're probably right. And first, they should have made it deeper than '96. Making that just 3 years in the future was kind of absurd.
Mm-hmm. But there's a scene where he's breaking in. Spartan is kind of raiding Phoenix's facility, and Phoenix stabs all of these gas cans, metal gas cans, if I recall correctly, with a knife, so that they'll spill onto the floor so he can trap Spartan. Why wouldn't Spartan have spilled the gas when he walked in? Because he seemed surprised that he was standing in gasoline. Which seems that would have a very strong smell.
Maybe he can't smell, he's taking too many shots to the head.
And when after that scene when they're both arrested and frozen, we see an actor who basically reads Spartan's sentence before he's frozen. An actor named Mark Coulson. Do you remember him at all?
Well, I remember seeing the actor in this, but I don't remember him from another thing.
No, I don't know what else I've seen him in, but I was sure that was Andy Dick. He looked a lot like Andy Dick. I was shocked that Andy Dick was in a dramatic role, and then I had to check IMDb and found out it was actually Mark Coulson. He gets to the future, and we meet Linnea Huxley, Sandra Bullock's character. I keep slipping on her last name for some reason. The bored future cop seemed cliche 25 years ago.
Right. None of that made any sense. That she's just this, 90s history buff.
She's an expert on the 20th century, and she's really into the action stuff, and she's bored now with her perfect life and all of that. And then we get the first sign of what this movie is going to be.
Well, they've really, ham-fisted, at you.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about a particular cast member that just really seals the deal with what you're in for in the future. Rob Schneider.
He's uncredited, actually, isn't he? They don't actually list him.
There's this scene with him, and is it Benjamin Bratt who plays kind of the sidekick?
Yeah, he's probably my favorite actor in this whole thing, actually.
Yeah, he was good. But there's this high five that they do, but they don't actually touch, and they kind of do this.
Right.
Cringy. And of course, Simon gets thawed out too. Simon Phoenix, and I'm gonna call him by his full name, of course.
We have to. And
he kills a few people. And in order to get through the security, he has this one doctor's eyeball on a pen. There really should have been some nerve endings trailing off of it.
They did not want to go there.
Although I have to wonder why they didn't try to rescue that. The warden, it was not Simon. It wasn't a doctor. The warden, because he was alive. They see him on the closed circuit TV alive, barely. They just watch him die.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They couldn't get anybody to him fast enough.
They didn't even try.
That's true. They just kind of like, oh,
Yeah, it's my
oh, this
issue.
is terrible.
It's my issue with the end of Rogue One. Why didn't they try to get off at least? Um, but also, I have to wonder why nobody remembers 36 years ago,
Well, right. They're acting like
except for Bill Cobbs.
it's fucking ridiculous. They're acting like nobody was alive. I mean, the dude that was the asshole, captain.
Mhm.
How old was he in this? I
Yeah,
mean, not Nigel Hawthorne, of course.
yeah. It looks like Donald Pleasance. I can't remember the actor's actual who it actually is. It's someone I've seen in a bunch of stuff. Um, the guy who made me regret every pair of round glasses I have because
is
he's
that
bald and wearing these ridiculous
is
round
that
glasses.
Bob Gunton?
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it
Looks a bit
is.
like Donald Pleasance.
So yeah, he's born in 45, so that would make him the, so he's got to be in 93. He's
Probably
almost
50-ish.
yeah, he's almost 50. So
Yeah,
he's in his 20s
right.
during
Oh, he'd be in his late teens. It would be, I'm slightly younger than he would is probably there. And I remember 82 pretty well, at least
yeah,
culturally.
right. So I think that was the problem. It would be like Rip Van Winkle, but like a couple weeks later, and
Yeah,
like, oh,
exactly.
remember when that happened?
Right.
Oh man,
Just didn't try hard enough.
right.
They also point out that police officers in this time are not trained to handle violence. Little on the nose.
Yeah,
And then we get, the breakout with Phoenix, and he's at this sort of information what's the word I'm looking for? Kiosk. At the information kiosk, and he hears this voice in his head telling him to go after Edgar Friendly. And then we cut to this guy lecturing about how bad Friendly is, and it's obvious that's who programmed him.
yeah,
Like 10 minutes into the movie. And the scene, although the scene where he's being thought out, where Spartan's being thought out, it kind of reminds me, I don't know why, it reminds me of Batman and Robin for some reason. The set dressing reminds me of so much of that movie.
Well, it felt like they used a lot of Terminator props, like the thawing chambers and everything.
Yeah,
Just the fact that they're naked.
Right.
The whole they sent them into the future sort of deal.
Mhm. I mean, Stallone was a bodybuilder, so that's why they had, some of the gratuitous shots. But this whole PC future thing, where everything's going to be so sanitary, particularly 36 years in the future. Again, thinking about 82, there's been a lot of great technological advances, but culturally we haven't changed much. Gotten a little better in some ways, a little worse in some other ways.
Right. I think it would be different if they said maybe 70 years in the future or something like that.
Fair, yeah.
60.
Right.
But yeah. And it's not like they did anything with Bill Cobbs anyway. So it made no sense that like Bill Cobbs could have said, "Oh, I knew your daughter," kind of thing.
Right.
Because they never even mentioned his daughter, like
No.
what happened to his daughter exactly.
They mentioned his wife briefly, but then
They mentioned his wife that she died in an earthquake in 2010, but they never mentioned. They said they couldn't mention what happened to his daughter.
Right.
Like Sandra Bullock wanted to look it up, but he said no for some reason, which didn't make any sense whatsoever.
But just this idea that things are going to get that PC in that short period of time, it's not going to happen because it's completely ignoring the competing forces. It's just saying there's this one movement that's going to take over everything, and it's very simplistic. But what do I expect from this movie? Speaking of things that didn't age well, commercials in this future are pop songs, like ad jingles are pop.
Wait a minute, I think that was on the nose, actually.
Really? Okay.
In fact, I think we're practically halfway there as it is. I mean, unless you... I'm sure there's people that listen to like the X Ambassadors or American Authors, bands that are pretty much primarily known because they made their songs commercial jingles.
Okay, there are a fair amount of artists who are known for TV themes or jingles, yeah, or but the actual jingles becoming pop songs,
We are halfway there, I say.
and maybe it's
It's
because
happening.
I can't say I don't watch TV. I do watch a few network shows, but I don't watch it on TV. I watch things online, and I have ad block, so I can't remember the last time I saw a commercial.
But I tell you, it's happening. We're more than halfway there, I think, even.
I think commercials in that form are going to become less and less relevant.
They even show on like some of the channels now. They're showing nostalgic commercials. You know, commercials from back in the day on something.
Yeah. I know Nick at Night did that for a while.
Right, like Antenna TV and stuff, or whatever they're calling that now. Decades,
okay.
I think.
I'm a cord cutter, so I'm removed from it. I guess
it's happening, and I think that that is like I'm sort of thinking that is like the only thing that they hit on the nose that is going to happen.
Huh. Now, in the scene when Simon Phoenix is trying to break through the gun display, he finds himself at a museum, which is the only place where they have guns. And they're in this big, protected display. He's punching and kicking the glass, and it sounds a lot like plexiglass. It's kind of reacting, kind of bouncing back.
Right.
He picks up this one guy who happens to be wandering through, throws him through it. It shatters like not even
regular
like a
glass,
like not even a window pane. Just like very thin glass, in no way safeguarded. It just seemed odd.
Well, just knew how much do you weigh. That was it.
I think, on the whole, this could have been a good movie, except for all of the attempts at comedy. I think that's what kill it is the, and I think the 90s are to blame for that. The early 90s, anyway. It's so early 90s, like the virtual sex scene.
It didn't make any sense, because I mean, if you're into it, you're into it. Let's just say that, no one just goes, "Whoa, what's this I'm feeling?"
Right. They get home. Linnea Huxley shows him to his domicile, which is down the hall from hers. Shows him hers first, which is all decked out in 20th century stuff. And she offers to have sex with him, and he's a little shocked, but eventually he's on board. She steps away, comes out with a silver box and containing these two headsets, and it's this whole VR thing. It's just, again, so dated and so very 90s, early 90s.
Oh yeah,
so pre-internet.
You get these, flash cuts, and it's just really cheesy.
And then they reveal that Scotto, who is the architect of this society, is the one who programmed Phoenix to kill Edgar Friendly, so that, because he was a threat to the Great Society, which we all worked out like 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
And then there's a scene where Spartan actually breaks this heavy-duty cryo equipment that's like lifting him in the air.
Oh, you're talking about you're
in the final fight. We jumped a bunch of stuff because he's up in the air in this crane about to be dropped into the cryo container. He actually breaks the heavy-duty industrial equipment with his bare hands.
He gets like the exhaust that's like, I guess, liquid nitrogen exhaust.
Oh, okay. He does. That's how he did it. Okay, I missed that.
Which is just as absurd because he's handling it barehanded.
Yeah. Okay.
It's powerful enough to freeze metal, but he can handle it with his bare hands.
Okay. Although they did something nice with that at the end. Simon Phoenix's death, I did appreciate that. It was surprisingly pleasantly surprisingly brutal for this movie.
Yeah.
It involves I'm not going to recommend. Neither of us are going to recommend the movie. I'll just spoil it. He cryogenically freezes Simon Phoenix, and then like punches his head off, and then smashes it. I did enjoy that. And it ends with Sting's remake of the song "Demolition Man" by the Police and previously by the Police and Grace Jones. I love the Police version, and it's basically about someone who is very dangerous and basically saying, "Stay the fuck away from me. I will ruin your life."
And they had to shoehorn it, into this
it
movie.
is the name of the movie, but Sting does this like Grace Jones's version is very different from the original, but certainly fitting of the mood. Sting does this adult contemporary version of it.
Oh yeah,
like classic solo Sting of a song. I'm nobody's friend. I'm a demolition man. In adult contemporary.
Wouldn't it have been better if Sting was singing like a commercial jingle at the end?
Oh, absolutely.
I think that would have fit the movie more.
Yes.
But we were talking about like the comedy, the comedic attempts in this movie. I think the worst part of that, well, other than shoehorning Dennis Leary in and just having him,
he literally quotes asshole at one point.
Associate Bob. It's pretty much. I guess Glenn Shaddix is the guy's name. Okay. He's pretty much playing the same character he played in Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay, that's why he looked familiar.
It's the same exact character, though.
He also reminded me a lot of you haven't seen Babylon 5. The character Veer, played by Stephen Furst, who was like the Man Friday of this one leader. Of course, Stephen Furst plays that role 10 times better. So, that's what he reminded me of. Looked a bit like him, too. Little bit of trivia. Hungarian science fiction writer, apologies for all these mispronunciations, István Nemir, said that most of Demolition Man is based on his novel Holtak Harka, Fight of the Dead, published in 1986. In the novel, a terrorist and his enemy, a counterterrorism soldier, are cryogenically frozen and awakened in the 22nd century. See, at least he gave it a lot of time.
Yes.
To find that violence has been purged from society. Nemir claimed that a committee proved that 75% of the film is identical to his book. He chose not to initiate a lawsuit, as it would have been too expensive for him to hire a lawyer to fight against the major Hollywood studio in the U.S. He also claimed that Hollywood has plagiarized many other Eastern European writers after the fall of the Iron Curtain, and that he knows the person he claims to be responsible for illegally selling his idea to filmmakers.
Huh. Well,
I'm really curious about the book because it sounds like a much more interesting and serious version of the similar idea.
Yeah, it seems like they really butchered whatever they were trying to do here.
Well, they tried to cram cheesy 90s humor into it.
Now, from what I saw, the making of this, just like the notes of it, that this was originally like Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal.
Really? Wow. After Time Cop, or was this before Time Cop? No, I think it was after Time Cop.
Yeah, I think so. But how do you get from that to Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes?
I don't know. We could argue. There's arguments to be made for Van Damme maybe being better, but I think we're better off with this version than anything with Seagal. I'm assuming Van Damme would have been Spartan, and you could debate him versus Stallone.
I think there were arguments. Like, one wanted them to play Van Damme to be the bad guy, and one wanted Van Damme, I think, wanted to be the good guy. And I think, it was just a mess, and it hung out on the vine, and then we got this
development hell, right? At least we didn't get Steven Seagal. If there's any, slight mercy here. On to sequels and remakes.
On to sequels and remakes.
A 4-part limited series comic adaptation was published by DC Comics starting in November of 1993. A novelization written by Robert Time, I don't know why I said November, was also published, there's November, in October of 1993. Acclaim Entertainment and Virgin Interactive released Demolition Man on various home video game systems. The 16-bit versions were shooting games distributed by Acclaim. The 3DO version is a multi-genre game that incorporates full motion video scenes. That's 90s. With both Stallone and Wesley Snipes reprising their roles as the characters in scenes that were filmed exclusively for the game. That has got to be on YouTube. I need to look for it.
There were all sorts of crazy cameos and some people who were just like one of their earliest roles, like Jack Black was a scrap. Jesse Ventura's in there for a couple scenes where I thought he was Goldberg at first. But Goldberg was probably very young at this time. Yeah,
Goldberg was around in like the early thousands, I think.
Yes.
And in April of '94, Williams released a wide-body pinball machine, Demolition Man, based on the movie. It's designed by Dennis Nordman. The game features sound clips from the movie as well as the original speech by Stallone. Original speeches, little typo there, by Stallone and Snipes. The game was part of the WMS Superfin series, Twilight Zone, Indiana Jones, etc. That may be the best thing to come from all of this, is the pinball machine. Or the least harmful, or the most harmless thing to come from all of it.
And of course, that was the biggest cameo would probably be Dan Cortez at the time.
I don't want to say I have to go back and check because I don't want to revisit the movie, but I didn't catch Dan Cortez.
He was the Taco Bell entertainer, the singer.
Oh, wow. I think I didn't notice him because I'd completely forgotten he existed until you just said his name.
Singing the Green Giant, the jingle.
Oh, I remember that scene. That was Dan Cortez?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I remember being thoroughly annoyed by him.
Of course, but at this time, that was probably a pretty big get to have as a cameo.
What was his MTV show? I'm completely blanking.
You know what? I cannot remember, tell you the truth. There was some sort of extreme sports.
Yeah, something early MTV sports. Anyway, on to Brains.
On to Brains.
I liked the action stuff. The comedy was hideous. The performances were okay. I didn't like it. I didn't dislike it. It's right down the middle for me, 2.5.
It's frustrating because they could have really had a good movie here if they just, thought about it a little bit. I don't know. They didn't need the stunt casting of Dennis Leary, or if they did, at least use him a little more. There's so much that they didn't use here. I
was a Leary fan back in the day. So I'm sure I would have enjoyed seeing more of him.
Of course. They didn't even advertise that he was in it, I'm telling you. Because I remember when this came out, and everyone's like, Stallone and Wesley Snipes, and Wesley Snipes is dressed like Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
I think we'll pass on that. You know? So, but I did like Benjamin Bratt, who, by the way, this is long before he was on Law & Order as the very serious...
This is probably one of his earliest roles.
The very serious detective on Law & Order. Because Law & Order, you have Jerry Orbach before, who was kind of like, I'm going to do some sarcastic shit here. But, Bratt was the very, Joe Friday. Yeah. And here he is just, and inexplicably in the end, he becomes a member of the Scraps,
because I think they left him down there. I think Linnea Huxley and John Spartan left and just kind of left him in the underground.
Yeah, but it doesn't explain why he goes from being a Law and Order guy to like, hey, this is wrong and stuff, to he's part of the revolution now.
He found out it was fun. He tried a rat burger and a beer and he was in.
All right, so I'm getting it too anyway, because it's just annoying enough
to not quite be halfway,
but not like it, in fact, the reasoning behind this is not that different from Neil Breen's work, actually. What happens in the second dystopia?
Wow! Now I'm really looking forward to Twisted Pair.
Sure.
And what have we learned?
Don't take movies Van Damme and Seagal passed on.
And I learned that the future is really redundant. Murder, death, kill, joy. All right, so that's it for Demolition Man. Until next time, we'll either be reviewing The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight or Princess Bride. TBD, we'll discuss that afterward. Until then, of course, always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there you are. 1, 2, 3. Hello and welcome to Zombie Hello. 1, 2, 3. You keep moving the mic and causing noise, which switches the camera. Right as I'm about to talk. 1, 2, 3.